welcome back to the channel. I got some dirt on from trying to shoot video with Darlene, but today we'll answer some listener messages. First one is from Miss A. Thank you for watching, Miss A. Dear Kay, I saw BB, also called Darlene, and the roasted duck doll I gave her taking a nap while enjoying the owner brushing her fur in your video. I really envied that it has a loving family. Love, Miss A. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the doll for my doggers, and thank you for watching. Okay, our next card is from Miss J. Dear Kay, thank you so much for the beautiful painting bag. When I saw it in your video, I thought of my friend Miss A. I'm going to share your video with her and give your bag as a gift. A's going to love the picture on the bag. Your friend J. Thank you so much for sending, and thank you so much for recruiting other people to watch. Okay, stuffs aside. Today I want to talk about plants because as I'm preparing to paint this myrtle bush in the Esther painting, I need to refresh myself on painting nature tips. So actually kind of went through some of the past paintings I've done in gouache, which is actually a really great medium to capture nature because it dries fast. The darks actually do dry a little lighter, but as you practice, and the lights they do dry darker, so it's like reversed. But as you practice, gouache is actually a really nice medium to use when painting outside, which we call plein air. So I want to show you some super old gouache paintings I've done. Like you can see, the rule is to go always dark over light or light over dark. So whether you're painting a bush on top of another bush, make sure the front bush is either darker or lighter than the other bush. Other pointers to remember is think of complementary colors. So if you see like a patch of grass, like here, like a patch of bush on a like a brick path or muddy color, think of that as puzzle pieces inserting itself into each other. The complements being like the redder tone versus the greener color. And as we know, like red and green are complements, orange and blue are complements. So think of like earth sometimes, like the soil as like that reddish color. The plants that coming out of it is the cooler color. And with that, like bouncing back and forth, it'll help you pop out things a little better. And then, just thinking about Esther was really cool because the other day I was finishing painting her face. I was like, oh, I'll turn on a radio station I used to listen to a lot commuting to work, and it's K-Wave 107.9, and that station is like such a godsend because like every time I like needed something, I turn it on and it's like exactly what I needed to hear. And strange thing, I was painting Esther's head, and then this pastor was talking about the passage Esther 2, and it was so interesting because he was talking about like the context of that time. King Ahasuerus, the Persian king who eventually married Esther, he was like, this is no Cinderella story, you know, like these girls are like rounded up, you know, like cattle from like around the kingdom and to be chosen out of this harem, So like, so if you are like moderately good looking, you're gonna be stuck in that harem forever, and you won't be able to marry like anyone. You'll just be like the king's like product, So I thought that was fascinating. And the point being, the pastor was mentioning was that like none of these like situations Esther planned to, like this wasn't like her own like bidding, that like she grow up at this time in this place. Like she was grew up as an orphan. She was raised by her cousin, who's actually the hero of the story. But she actually had these great looks, like, and the pastor was funny because he was like, if the Bible says you're like basically have like a great body, like you must really have a great body and like great looks, So the pastor was really funny. So yeah, like her looks, her being an orphan, darling, and her being chosen by the king Ahasuerus, like these are all things that like Esther obviously had no power over. And the pastor was just mentioning how like a lot of things we don't have power over, like nightmarish things that go through our lives. We're like, why God, But I was really encouraged by what the pastor said, like that God uses all these things for good. And Esther, she was put in this like really weird, strange, situation, but she was empowered to, help her people and her family, and save them from being like mass murdered or something.
So here I'm using a reference of a myrtle bush that has red flowers. You could see the red clumps aggregate towards the top and get more sparse towards the bottom. At this point, I'm still trying to keep it in the atmosphere in the back so the colors are quite faded out. And I'm still trying to stick to our color scheme. Though later I will get a little darker to convey that rich red color. Remember also that the mass of leaves is a volume in itself. So there is a core shadow where I'm placing the darkest green, and the light coming from the top left corner.